Out to Steve Keeley, and Steve, Cavalcante had a planned end game.
Well, it's his first night under a new prison ceiling after his last night under the stars and clouds. And hours after he agreed to tell interrogators about his 14 days on the lam and tell them how incredibly close they came to finding him 3 times, and how he planned to use that rifle to make a further escape out of the country soon.
Our nightmare is finally over.
In hospital gown and handcuffs, Danelo Cavalcante was walked out of the Avondale State Police Barracks after cooperating with interrogators, telling them through a Portuguese interpreter that he intended to carjack someone in the next day to get to Canada or Mexico. A source in on Cavalcante's interrogation told Fox 29 News his endgame was to carjack someone and get out of the country because he began to notice increasing search helicopters and airplanes over his head. He said he'd been hiding under thick underbrush, and on 3 occasions said armed search teams came within 7 or 8 yards of him. He said he only moved at night, never during the day. Cavalcante even did his own surveillance, he told interrogators. He said he did surveillance on the first perimeter around Longwood Gardens, so he knew where and when to run to make his escape from there. He also did surveillance on that house where he stole the rifle from. He didn't just do those without planning, the source told us. He said he hid his fecal matter, number 2s, under leaves and brush so searchers wouldn't find out where he had been. He found a backpack with a razor inside during his escape, which he used to shave. He said he lived off stream water and a watermelon that he had stolen.
There were people who were intent and intended to assist him. We had been successful, to the best of my knowledge, we had been successful in preventing that assistance from reaching him.
And so after his interrogation, an 18-vehicle caravan brought Cavalcante in a SWAT truck into the State Correctional Institute Phoenix here in Skippack. And as the prison's garage doors slowly closed on Cavalcante's last glimpse of sun and sky for a while, interrogators realized they had just learned how close Cavalcante possibly came to trying to make a further escape and maybe even add to his list of victims. Sheba, Jason?
Steve, there's just some really startling new details to come out about how he was able to survive 13 days here. Anything that struck you the most out of all of this? Because that was quite a lot.
Well, we talked about how tough it was to find him. He's hearing their footsteps 3 times. He's just 7 or 8 feet away from them. Unbelievably, 3 times. That's how close they came. And it also shows you how thick that brush that we talked about yesterday was. They're just that close to him, and they don't even see him.
Wow.
And he's not wearing what they're wearing. They're wearing camouflage gear, and he's not. And that shows you how thick that stuff was that he was living in.
And the fact that he was able to do his own surveillance undetected in that thick brush.